The recording in progress, and I'm with Carol Tyler. We're mid conversation already about the Beatles.
Oh,
We
yeah.
couldn't contain ourselves. We had to already start speaking about the Beatles.
I just had to
Um,
jump in.
so what were we talking about, Carol? Like now I can't remember.
Well, we said we had a mutual friend,
As we
Robert
do,
Rodriguez,
Robert Rodriguez, who I spoke to last week, yeah,
and he's fabulous. Of
and
course,
he adores you. That
I
I
know. I love him too.
that was clear from Robert for sure.
Well, I grew up in the Chicago area. He's there,
Yeah,
and so he could relate on that level too,
right.
on the Chicago thing. And yeah, when the book came out, but we got started tonight because I said, Robert, Beatles. Oh, I thought, because it used to hang right here. I thought, oh, I should put that Beatles picture in the background that's in the back of Fab Four Mania.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's acrylic. It's acrylic, but the lads are in oil.
Wow.
Yeah, I just
Pretty
I
cool.
didn't know what I was going to do, but I painted this in '82
Right.
in late August because I had a show. I was in grad school at Syracuse,
Right.
and they said you get to have a show in September in such and such gallery, which meant, oh, okay. So I spent the summer out there being in San Francisco, woo, and I met Justin and all that,
Right.
and did things I hadn't done before, like nude sunbathing. Ah! I mean, and I worked at a punk at the Fab Mab. I was a waitress at the Fab Mab. Yeah,
Okay.
I lived in a house with these women, and we were just like a little wild. It was a wild women
Well,
house.
yeah, I mean that's a good time to be wild. I mean,
I was in
82.
my early 30s, no kids.
Sure. Sure.
So I looked up Justin. That's kind of like that was the main course. But I was my friend who I was staying with was my roommate in college. And so I said, I got this show. I got to put together a show. And I was out there to kind of soak up art. And we would talk art a lot. That's what we did. We were in college as undergrads,
Right.
talking it up. And so, and she knew my boyfriend. And I was out there because I was going to look up the cartoonists because I was going to show them our work and all this stuff. But, when I met Justin, it was like, hi.
Did you have a list of who you wanted to meet?
Yeah, I called them all up. I called up Spain. I called up Bill Griffin. I called them all up. They were
Okay.
all like, yeah, great. But when I called up Justin, he asked me to lunch. And
That's pretty
was
professional. I mean, that's pretty slick.
No, he said, oh, would you like to have lunch?
Oh, that's more than professional.
I love your book. And then I was like to the girls, oh, he wants to have lunch with me. Oh my God. And I ended up going on a sign job with him and all that. But the whole time I was out there, I kept thinking, I want to put a show together, Oh, but I want to think about Justin. I want to think about being with Justin. Oh, but I got a show to do. And so the intensity I had for him came up when I saw this house. And everybody should know about this house. It's been painted over, but there was a house that this lady had, and it was kind of in Bernal Heights area.
Okay.
And she had painted Beatle graphics all over her stucco house. And on the where you go down to go into the bottom part, that was Hard Day's Night.
Okay.
The Toonie graphics that they had for that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So I had to get my picture made, and I was wearing my best friend at the time, Colleen. I was wearing her shirt.
Did you know the house was there, or did you just like come upon it? Did you just like
people knew people, it's
Oh, okay.
house, this
Okay.
kind of thing.
Gotcha.
When San Francisco was still run by the art vibe.
Yeah.
And, real people and all of that is different now, but nobody's painting their houses with the Beatles graphics. But it's a kind of you can look it up, find out about the Beatles house. But anyway, I got my picture. I had my picture made at the height of feeling so much passion passion, passion, and excitement about Justin. And so I kind of went like this
Yeah.
for the picture. And I was just smiling. I was just so thrilled. I was thrilled about the whole San Francisco experience. I think I was getting ready to go home. And then I thought, I I love the Beatles. Now, how does this rank? How does this excitement I feel about Justin, how does it rank with seeing the Beatles? Right away I'm thinking, because
Yeah. How
was
did it rank?
my whole life has been like, okay, what were the most important things that happened? Beatles is up there. It's like number one. And
Yeah.
seeing them and just that whole thing I captured in Fab Four Mania.
Yeah.
So that was all about the excitement of
Yeah.
being that age, being being a person with no resources, no agency. I was 13 years old. Nobody in my family cared. Nobody paid any attention. The culture sucked. And yet here was this exciting thing. I just turned on my radio. I could hear it. My friends at school were all excited. So it empowered me to be like thinking that, wait a minute, they say they love me. I get that. They love me and they make me feel like I am on top of the world. Right. And
Yeah.
so I felt that way in San Francisco
Huh.
when I got with Justin.
Okay. Okay.
I'm feeling like something is going to happen.
Wow.
Tremendous. So I tied it with that. When I came back to Syracuse, I made an 8 foot by 6 foot, just this huge painting, stretched canvas, oversized, because that, which you see here, was a postage stamp element above this huge, and it was all red oil paint that I put on really thick with a palette knife. And the
Okay.
thing about red oil paint is if you don't do it just right, it'll get dry splotches. And so I was really careful how I was going to, I did a
Oh,
real
wow.
skilled job. But in
Okay.
the middle of that, kind of at the bottom, kind of in the lower chakra of the painting, kind of in the, I put that painting, I put it in that photo going like this. And then looking up at them. And that's what
That's
I think.
amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, this just brings up all kinds of questions for me. First of all, do you equate the Beatles now with Justin in your head, kind of?
No, not at all. I mean, at the time, that was 82. I'm meeting him for the first time, and it was
It was
thrilling,
just
and it was like,
similar
where this is going
excitement.
to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And of course, I named our baby is named Julia.
Yeah.
It's because of, first and foremost, it was because his mother had passed away, and his aunt had all the papers, and she died a week before my baby was born. And when we were looking through the papers, it turned out that his mother's real name was Julia,
Oh, wow.
not Claire.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so, because I had planned on naming him Harrison,
Okay. Okay.
because we made Julia at the Harrison Hotel after my husband came back from Greece, and he was all tan. His brother took him over there. It was a stupid trip, but he got to go to Greece, came back all tan. We went to the Harrison Hotel.
Where
I
was
had a
that?
miraculous vision, and I was handed the baby by the ancestors, which was unbelievable because I wasn't supposed to get pregnant.
Okay.
And then when there was no getting boy or girl information back then.
Right.
I just assumed I had a boy, and we would call him Harrison. But then when she was born, we had just found out that, and I said, Julia, that's what we're gonna name her, Julia.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Did you when you saw the Beatles, this blows my mind because I was born in 66. So they were kind of through by the time I was
Saw
aware.
them before you were born.
Yeah, so but did you have the sense like, oh my God, this is history. Like this is going to be like one for the ages.
No, because
not at
no,
13, I guess.
you're
No, I guess not.
13. There's no internet. The biggest thing was, there was a big city nearby Chicago, but I lived way out in Nowheresville, Fox Lake, Illinois.
Okay.
And so my parents had mapped out no particular future for me because, as my dad said, you're probably just going to get married and be some guy's wife. So, that's the dog. So for me, finding or hearing them and being able to take my babysitting money and buy actual physical albums, there was so many ways and it was prolonged. Like they were on Ed Sullivan in 64 and I didn't get to see him till 65. So I had this, it was like somebody hit bong and it went on for, until I saw him in August of 65. And then I entered high school. It changed when I went to high school because the focus was now on whether or not I was cool enough, whether so-and-so noticed me, the high school
Right.
stuff.
Right.
It was back then, it was a K-8 school.
Okay.
So I was an 8th grader, which meant I was the top of the heap in terms of, the pecking order in an elementary school.
Sure.
And to be an 8th grader came with a lot of there are a lot of things that we had to do because, and I talk about that in the book, end of the school year things and graduation and all these important milestones of just, getting through school.
Yeah.
But it was also, how do I know all this? Well, in 63, Kennedy died. He was shot. But I think it was in 63 or 62 when I was in school. There was Vatican II. Vatican II.
Yeah.
Which meant that for us to understand what that meant, the nuns had us make a little booklet.
Okay.
And the new technology was the Bic pen, the one with the clear with the little hole in it.
Those were great.
We all got blue Bic pens.
Right.
And we sat down at our paper with the holes on the side. And we wrote down the prompts, whatever she said, which was basically going over everything. This is, yeah, okay, I want to make sure I hit that. Okay. Going over everything about Vatican II, we were learning, I guess, a cursive writing exercise.
Yeah.
And she kept saying, if it's important, you need to write it down. That's why we're making the booklets. And then on the cover of the booklet, which was construction paper, we had the flaming dove of faith or something like that. Construction paper.
Yeah.
The reason
that you had to make, though. Did you made it? Everybody made it?
We all wrote all this gobbledygook about Vatican II.
Okay.
And then we collated it into a construction paper covered booklet with the dove, with the grace coming out of its beak.
Okay.
And the flames of wisdom or what. We made this. We cut them out. The whole school got to do the whole thing, or the whole, my whole class.
Got it.
And inside was our handwritten with Bic pen notes that they told us to write. That was their way of teaching religion class and doing cursive exercise and stuff. So
yeah,
he said, if it's important, write it down. So when I turned on the radio, I turned on Ed Sullivan. It was like, I can't even express how that shifted the paradigm of my very DNA.
Did you hear it on the radio first or see it on Sullivan?
There was some songs were out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a few little songs. And I know it's true because my brothers, and I talk about this in the book, which now you'll have to go over it in depth.
Now I have the book. I will go over it. Yes.
My brothers brought over like I Want to Hold Your Hand or the single.
Yeah.
The single. And there's an episode, you'll have to read about that, what I did with that thing. But they brought that over the day of the Ed Sullivan show to play on our stereo. My mom had bought this record player, real nice, because she wanted to listen to her nice music, which is, Robert and I have gone over this. It was the easy listening shit of this.
Yeah.
That generation,
Yeah. My parents had the same shit for
the world's
sure.
most beautiful music. And now we're going to listen to Ray kind of singers or
Yeah. And why my dad had to blast it, I have no idea. Like he would play
they
it
all
extra
listen to that stuff. Yeah.
extra loud. Yeah, yeah.
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 So, and I was as fast because I would be listening to, we had, of course, show tune albums, and I'd put on like My Fair Lady or something like that, Carousel. And my brother and his jock friends would come in, they'd take my records and they'd just throw them across the room. This is shit. And they'd
Yeah.
put on rock and roll stuff. But then they were, that was the same crew that brought in the first Beatle record,
Okay.
which when you'll read about it, I kept the sleeve, but you can read about what I did with that. It's on display at Billy Ireland. So
Okay.
I kept all of this stuff because I had covered my walls. I made musical instruments that I figured out according to pictures. If he's this size and his guitar extends out there, and I'm like this, I used paper bags.
Okay.
I need to make the handle that big. And I used pastels and I made their instruments, which are also reproduced in Fab Four Mania. But those are
Yes.
actual size of what I could figure out with my brain of how their instruments, what size they were, in case they were to show up.
Holy
Carol,
shit.
if they were to show up at my house, then, Paul could take the Hofner off the wall and play it. Or Rigo could pick up the drumsticks and play, or George and John, they're
Sure.
there, they're ready. I'm ready for you.
That's amazing. Wait, so every image, because I have looked through it, every image in that book is something you did in the past?
No,
Okay.
the content.
Okay. Okay.
So the reason why is because it was over the years, it was in such poor shape because I would scotch tape it to the wall and things got
Right.
torn. And there is a booklet. So I made the booklet. Like Sister said, it's important. So when I saw the Beatles, I made a booklet.
Right. Right. Right.
And it
Right.
was made with a big pen, but my mom said important things you do in red pen. So I wrote it in red pen. But
Right.
I had to reproduce my 13-year-old handwriting because the ink had bled between the pages over
Right.
the years. So in order to get it book correct, there are technical things I had to do. But the whole vibe, talking about my friends, things I did, because it was all in, I made not just this Beatles booklet, that was called 37 Minutes of Madness.
Right. You titled it that when you were 13?
Mhm.
That's a really sophisticated. I don't think I could have come up with a sophisticated title like that.
Oh, I always had a way with words, I guess, because when I go back, I think, how did I do
Yeah, that's
that?
pretty cool, Carol. That's amazing.
The things that I wrote down and all the things I kept. I made an 8th grade memories journal, and it had details in there. I kept notes we'd pass in class. I kept gum wrappers because it's all the stuff in Fab Four
Yeah.
exists for real.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so like the big beautiful color illustrations in Fab Four, those I had to do because, like I said, I had pieces and bits, and I'd had some breakdown materials.
Right.
So, and I also thought, okay, I'm gonna give myself permission. I'm drawing like a professional older person. That's true for the illustrations, but the vibe, the whole thing, is just kick-ass 13-year-old girl. I just lost my dad, my mom, my sister, lots of people in the world, and it
Right.
was sad ass times.
Right.
So I just wanted to go, to a different escape, to a simpler time, a better time. And I put my mind into, so I really channeled being that age.
Wow.
It came so easily, and I found my handwriting the way it's like, oh yeah, so I used to make the G like that, or however, my T was like this. All of that.
It's amazing though, because I knew about the red booklet in the back, so I made sure I looked through that really carefully.
Yeah, that's a
Those
first-hand account.
those drawings are like pretty sophisticated again. I was like, did Carol redraw these or like they just
Some of them are real. Like the little margin drawings and the little
yeah, 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 yeah.
dads here and there. Yeah.
Huh. Did anybody, I mean, I get this question a lot because I've been drawing since I was little. Did anybody else like in your family draw, or were you the art one?
We all had our assignments. My brother was a football player. My sister
Okay.
was the holy one. My
Okay.
little brother, they didn't know what to do with him yet. But at the time of Fab Four Mania, I don't think they quite knew. I mean, I'd won that poster contest. I think they figured I was kind of artistic. But you got to remember back then, a woman, let's say I was a grown up woman,
Yeah.
what career track is somebody who draws a lot? I mean, my mom was, she could make crafty things. I think if she was in this era, she'd probably be doing something similar. You know, my
Wow.
dad too. But they lived in their times fully.
Yeah.
So my dad was a builder, and all the creativity. They were both. My parents are both extremely creative. I realize now, and they set the tone of like. I mean, we there was no expectation. It's and there was no like none of this hovering focus on the kids.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
free to go out and do shit and
Yeah. You came home at night, you know? I mean, you were, I mean, yeah, if it was the summer, you went out
you
in the
could make
morning.
stuff up in your mind and
Yeah.
we didn't have like indulge. We weren't, you know, my parents didn't have that much money. My dad and mom, for a while, they were in business, plumbing business. My dad did pipe fitting and stuff.
Hmm.
But I remember playing with the leftover copper elbows from plumbing that were laying around and
Oh,
little
wow.
bits of wood and lath, you know, just from construction and all this.
Did you make anything out of them?
Yeah, I always had to make stuff. In fact, in high school, I made a tuna fish sandwich. This was what I came to school with. Can you imagine doing this today? Two dog food cans, you know, the metal cans, just, you know, hobo cans,
Yeah, yeah.
smashed. I went out and grabbed some hunks of asphalt and then stirred them up with some asbestos that my dad had in the basement.
Holy shit.
The asbestos was, you just need to add water. So I made this smurry stuff that looked like tuna fish, and I stuffed them in the cans and put them on a slab of marble because my dad always had hunks of marble around from floors and stuff.
Wow.
And I took it to school, and it was my sculpture. It was called Tuna Fish Sandwiches.
Wait, how old were you when you did this?
I was in high school. I was like, okay, June, sophomore in high school.
Damn, that's pretty creative. That's pretty amazing.
And deadly.
And deadly, sure, but pretty creative still. Do you know where this sculpture is?
Oh God, it's long gone. I mean, I made a pair of sneakers in high school out of I took a piece of wood. I haven't talked about this at all. I took a piece of wood and made a shape of my foot, and then I cut them on a bandsaw and put like a piece of foam, glued them to a piece of foam so that when you'd walk, they'd flex.
Okay.
And then I figured out some way to tie them around like a Roman sandal.
Huh.
But it didn't work because the pieces of wood were so close together that if a little pebble or something got in there, it would. But still, I made a pair of
Yeah,
shoes.
that's amazing. I mean, yeah. Like when did you start making art? Like, do you remember like were
It
you
was not called that.
well, it's still art.
And
Nonetheless. Like
my good best friend from 8th grade. There was an office supply store uptown, and we'd go in there, and it had some art supplies. So she's the one who told me about Craypod and the nuns. The nuns were really, when I was in elementary school with that Beatles stuff. They were on Friday afternoon. We have art class, and they were always having us draw. We would take greeting cards
yeah.
and copy them, copy the florals and the little cute pixie figures and happy birthday, you know,
Huh.
stuff.
With like paints and stuff?
With Craypa, which is a oil pastels.
Oh, okay. I've forgotten what crepe pot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
they're okay.
Yeah.
But you know, I was a kid. I was always scribbling and writing, and one of my first memories is getting in trouble. I must have been 2 or 3. My mom said, "You come here." I was like, "Oh no,
Oh,
why is mom calling me?" And in the hallway, she said, "Who wrote this on here?" And I had taken a pencil, because to this day, I love it. A pencil on plaster. I
it's a good
love that.
feeling. Yeah.
But apparently I liked it so much, I took this pencil and I was jumping up really high and making these big circles.
Making
She
art.
just must
Yeah.
have figured out it had to be her. I said, I don't know.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you just you know, the spirit moved you and your muse spoke and I get that. So did you learn like journaling from the nuns? Because
It
she
wasn't called that. It was called, you make a booklet, and if it's important. But we were always making booklets. So we would collect our spelling lists, spelling words for the week, and then they'd staple it into like a piece of construction paper, and you'd take it home. It'd be themed, like it would be all the ones for March would be green. You'd have a green cover and a shamrock, and then
Huh.
you know. So
Wow.
I don't do any of that stuff anymore. I
No, they
think it's
don't.
schools, but
I
all
mean,
all of my old school papers, spelling, anything, geography notes, they would collate them into these booklets, and then you get to send them, take
how
them.
many of those do you have still?
Just a bunch of them in there.
Wow, that's amazing that you just even have them. I mean, it's really cool that you have the Beetle one, but that's really neat.
Well,
That's
that was my
amazing.
own initiative, because I figured I came to the idea. She said if it was important, write it down, and this is the most important thing ever.
Yeah.
And
I
it turns
mean,
out that's true, because
I mean, it'd be pretty important to me. I wish I was there. I maybe I would have made a booklet too, but
well, I didn't. My sister was taking some note. I was, of course, at the concert fully. My sister
right,
was
you
taking.
instructed your sister to make notes, right?
Well, she wasn't into it at all. She was like 15 or something like that, and I was no.
Right.
She was almost. I don't know. Yeah, she was 16, I think, or 17.
Well, that's a pretty good age to be seeing the Beatles. Why was she so
She got to
blasé?
drive us down there.
Okay.
So that's the only reason she was involved, or I would have not dealt with her at all.
I mean, it seems, I mean, really, she just didn't care. Okay.
No, she's getting ready to go into the convent.
Okay. Oh, right.
Yeah, that was her calling.
Right.
And she put up with me.
Okay. Well, that was nice of her.
Mhm. But, I couldn't drive down, and I was completely involved with what was going on. And
Right.
yet, even though she took notes, what she wrote down was the set list, which basically you would say today is the set list.
Right. Yeah.
But what I did the minute I got home was write down everything I remembered.
When did you finish that? Like what, like did in a
I
day?
just stayed with it till I got it completely written. And then the next day I said, in case I forgot, I'm going to write it again.
Okay. Amazing. That's incredible. And did you have like a special place for it, this booklet? Like, did you always know where it was?
I made a special, just like I did for the ticket. I got in trouble because I cut into some of my dad's thick plastic for some project job he had, but I made a envelope thingy for it so it would always be protected.
Okay.
And it sat in a box with a lot of my Beatles stuff. Oh, it followed me around for a while when I moved, I was older, and I didn't really show it to people. I don't know, it just seemed like my thought about that was the most exciting and personal and wonderful thing, and I got to enjoy their music through my high school and a lot of the significant milestones of my life. I lost my virginity to something. That
Wow.
song, something.
Wow.
It was great. It was like it couldn't be a better song, um,
Wow.
in a car.
Okay.
So I didn't want to wear out my welcome, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
So I followed them, listened to the music. I didn't. There was none of this hyper attentive to the subject like there is today with TikTok and all that stuff. So something would come across the news now and then, you know, about the Beatles, and something that Paul is dead. It was like, that's garbage. I didn't get into that, you know. Like,
That's good. You
I
didn't fall
just
for
knew
that.
right away that was some stupid thing.
Okay.
Um, and I followed their careers, like, because I got married the first time in 71. And so I was following a little bit. I loved hearing about John Lennon having a Kotex on his head in LA, you know, stuff like that. I was like, oh, God, I love
Pretty
that.
funny.
And, you know, Paul's albums. Yeah, I got some of the albums. You know, I get really ripped on some great hash and turn on George's I'll Have You Anytime,
Okay.
from the one
All,
with the gnomes on the,
all things must pass. Yeah.
yeah, off the-
Yeah.
So they were around for me. And then when John got murdered,
Yeah.
life course correction, that shocked me into changing my life again.
How so?
I was floundering. I was living in Knoxville, Tennessee. I thought I should go to graduate school. Should I not go to graduate school? I don't know. I just finished with I'd gotten divorced. I went to school, you know, went back to college. I graduated, got my bachelor's. Everything set up was that you need to go to New York if you're going to be successful as an artist. But I'm thinking,
Right.
okay, how am I going to pull that one off? I don't have any money. I mean, so when John was murdered, I was living alone in an apartment building, and I had nobody to talk to about it. No, there was no connecting. You know,
Yeah.
there was some couple of people I knew from town, but you could see on TV all the people, the throngs that were at the Dakota and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And I thought, I belong there. Those are my people.
Yeah.
What am I doing here? And it turned out years later, I found out it was Johnny Knoxville's, one of his kinfolks that owned the building I was
Ah,
living in.
that's interesting. Okay.
I know, but that's a side thing. So I had zero money, but I thought, I got to get out of here. I'm going to have to make a series of paintings and try to apply to graduate school. So I worked at a stupid place at a bookstore, and I went and got a can of house paints, little
Okay.
pencil paints. I got blue, red, yellow, white, and black.
Pretty good assortment.
And I would drag home cardboard from the book place, and I figured out a way to run a fork, take the paint and run a fork across the acrylic paint to give it texture so it wasn't completely overwhelmingly cardboard.
Okay.
And then I would cut little shapes out, and I was making these things, just like three-dimensional image paintings with lettering and stuff. That was not happening, and I was doing that, you know.
Yeah.
Still not happening, but I was kind of doing that. And so I was making these pictures, and I remembered that about a week before John passed away, I had a terrible vision of this shape that went like this, and it was bloodied. And I thought, what was that? It was like a skin. And when I heard that he'd gotten blasted in the chest, I thought that was John's heart that I had that vision of.
Yeah. Was it a dream, or it just appeared, it just came to you
Well, I have these at different times.
Okay.
I had one, and I talk about it in the Ephemerata.
Yeah.
Occasionally I get some kind of some kind of a thing. And so I drew that on these cardboard things with
Yeah.
fork and using my fingers, just with the limited palette I had. And I got into graduate school with that goofy set of painting.
I mean, that's fate. That's pretty cool.
Fall of 81, I was in graduate school.
So and you pinpoint John's murder as like a turning point for you.
I had to get moving.
Yeah.
I need to get my life in gear. It was almost as if they were they were like tumbling, helping me tumble through life gently.
Yeah, I, I, that's been something. I haven't had the same experience, obviously, but I've had a similar experience. And, speaking of the Ephemerata, Carol, like, I mean, it's a very powerful book. I really loved it. I mean, it's really extraordinary. And, since the pandemic, life's been kind of weird and to say the least.
Yeah.
And I mean, Robert called the Beatles a secular religion last week, and I've heard him say that before. But they've gotten me through this past 5 years or so. I mean, it's everybody. I mean, everybody has something, and you need to focus on something to keep you going. And for me, the Beatles have been a large part of it. So I totally
They're
get
very
it.
powerful. And
Yeah.
I said that I wanted to keep them I didn't want to wear out the welcome with them. So I didn't get into like the re-releases and all that kind of. I felt like I need them for some time in my future, but I don't know what that is yet.
Uh-huh.
I was there at the initial blast. They helped me to get through the decade, the
Yeah.
70s, and course correction when John was murdered. And then from there, I just felt like they're going to have a significant return, and I felt confident about that. For me, in the
Yeah. Yeah.
long
Yeah.
term.
Yeah.
And I'll know when it's the right time. So that's how Fab Four Mania came out. When I lost my parents and everything, I needed to go back and have some time. I still needed to have some time with my life at home.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
all reflected in that book. So that's how it came back for me. But then now it's just like, oh God, the new songs that came out, um, now and then, just, oh, it got to me after my husband died.
Right.
And it
Yeah.
became kind of a theme song for how I feel, think, how it's for us, it's me thinking of him. So again, they 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 come when I need them. They come forward.
Just at the right time.
The greatest gift a person can have is music, I think.
Yeah.
And they have
Was-
been the greatest soundtrack of my life.
Yeah, for me too. I would have to say. Was Justin into the Beatles? Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, he liked the blues, and then he got into this, I don't know, kind of sleepy guitar stuff. But
Okay.
he was born in 45.
Okay.
So he was more interested in, um, no, he was a little too late for the Beatles.
Okay.
I actually think, if I remember correctly, he saw them when they came in 64 and he was unimpressed. Well, of course, he was an asshole guy. He was. He said he was a real jerk and he was mad when he was of that age. Let's see, in 64, he would have been going off to college.
Yeah.
Girls were screaming.
Yeah. 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 I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember him saying to me, Spain and he lived with Spain out in San Francisco for a while, and they both agreed that the Beatles suck. So in that summer when I was like, oh, I want to go see that house, they were like, because the Beatles suck to them, whatever.
All right.
You guys
Well,
can like what you want.
everybody has their opinion. That's fine.
Okay.
Were you always reading? When did you first start making comics?
Well, like I said, I went to New York to graduate school. And while I was in graduate school, um, the whole confluence of, excuse me, I was in undergraduate school. All the faculty in this country had come from the abstract expressionist movement,
Okay.
and it was discouraged. This thing about self-expression or um, symbolism,
Huh.
you know. So I got hardwired and was trained in undergraduate school on formalism. minimalism
Okay.
and all this kind of stuff. But, you know, when I got to New York, there was a whole lot going on with Philip Guston and other, you know, just artists, and then finding the Chicago Imagery School. That was exciting. And then the comics had made a resurgence, and it was in the form of anthologies like Arcade
Yeah.
and Spiegelman and Bill Griffith doing that. And
Yeah.
then I was with people who were investigating that, or kind of going to comic shops. And so I was given a copy of Pinky Brown.
Okay.
And that's like, okay, I got to back up, because I did see underground comics when I was a hippie. I don't want to say hipster. Hipster's
Okay.
later.
Right.
Hippie,
Okay.
stoner. We weren't even called stoners back then. We just smoked pot.
Right.
And it was not like the weed today. Oh my God, you'd have to smoke a gigantic doobie to even get a buzz, you know, a little buzz. It didn't make you. I'm not into that stuff anymore, but I've heard that you don't even, all you need is a slight whiff and you'll get the same effect as if you had a giant wadded joint back then. But I saw underground comics because my husband was a dealer, and the people would come over. Stoner guys would come over, smoke pot, look at the underground comics.
Huh.
And I just thought, I always called them those guys out there. You know, the guys out there are doing this crazy stuff. You'd look at it, you know. I didn't pick out any individual like I don't like. It's
Okay.
just like a big pot of we do whatever we want.
Right.
You know, I didn't like some of it. Yeah, I couldn't relate to the Freak Brothers.
Okay.
I kind of liked Mickey Rat because it was a parody of like,
Yeah, I like Mickey Rat too. It was well done, I thought.
yeah. Years later, I meet Bob Armstrong. It's like, I don't know how to say this, but when I was looking at that stuff, it never occurred to me I would meet this guy someday.
Yeah.
I never had a desire to, because it just seemed like a different world. And then time passes. And then when you meet somebody and you see that, oh, wait, I used to read your work, it has a different vibe. That's two, my dog. She has to get that. She has a tumor in her chest.
Oh,
So she has to cough some phlegm or something. She's
gotcha.
old. She's 15. Okay.
Gotcha.
Give her a break. We love you too.
She can do whatever she wants.
Do whatever you want. Every day I have two with me is a blessing. So I saw Binky, and then I started, it was like the tumbling through of Arcade and all of those in Mouse, because I was always using my personal experience as subject matter in my paintings. And I
Okay.
always felt guilty about it because we were supposed to be doing formalism.
Okay.
That wasn't the thing. So when I was making paintings, I was saying to people, well, this is about this and then rattle off what the painting was about. And then I'd have to make a text card. Then I thought, I can't follow people around and explain what this is. So why don't I just pull it out panel by panel by panel? So I made sequential bits on plywood, hunks of plywood that I found
Holy
in New York.
shit.
I just made sequence,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
added
yeah.
words. And then that when I got through with graduate school, moved to New York, it was the same thing. It's like comics started to become this like hidden secret, like really cool underground outsider thing that was gaining credibility, it was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
starting to be really cool. And that's why I went to San Francisco and met Justin, because the people I was with in New York I wanted to go visit my friend Mary that summer from when I was in undergraduate school.
Okay.
And while I was out there, I was going to look up the cartoonists because the
Okay.
cartoonists were on my radar. They were on the hipster. Now we're the hipster. The hipster radar was to check it out. Yeah, when I lived in New York, I got to go to Art Spiegelman's house at the loft there, helped him put flyers up for Raw magazine, and I got to see, and he knew Justin.
Sure.
So that's how I got Justin's phone number.
Okay. Okay. Art said you were cool, so like you could go meet Justin.
I was also warned that Justin liked the ladies. That's
Okay. Well, that's okay.
okay.
That's neat. So let's back up though. That was like your first experience with comics? Like, did you read anything when you were like
Okay, I
pre-Beatles?
got to go back.
Yeah.
When we lived in Chicago, when I was scribbling on the wall, my brother had a box of comics under the bed. All the boys had comics under their bed
Right.
or
Or
somewhere. You
something
had,
else. Yeah.
and you treated them like garbage. I mean, they were just comic books. You
Oh
didn't
yeah. Oh
bang
yeah.
them, do anything like that.
Yep.
You get one, you read it. So he said, "Get your hands off! Don't touch my stuff." I wasn't allowed to look at his stuff or touch his stuff. And back then, it was also that boys read this kind, and girls. My sister read Dot and Little Lulu and all the Harvey stuff.
Right. Right.
And so it's like, I guess I need to pick what kind I like if I'm going to look at comics, because they'd be at the corner store. We go to the corner store, collect bottle caps, and as much as bottles, we collect bottles. You turn in a bottle, you get 2 cents. And for 6 cents, I get a popsicle. But my siblings were getting more bottles so they could get comic books and stuff.
Okay.
Right. And so I'd rather just have a popsicle.
Yeah, that's probably a better idea. Yeah, I could see, a popsicle. Good popsicle will last you for a while.
banana,
That's
banana
nice.
root beer.
Yeah.
Okay. So um, I was thrilled to death when I got a hold of John Stanley's Lulu or Nancy and Sluggo Go to Summer Camp.
Okay.
Summer special.
It's a
Right?
big comic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice
And
chunky. Yeah.
I figured out I must have been 7.
Ooh.
And the idea of summer camp to me was, okay, where did I live? I lived in Chicago on a busy street with house after house after house right up next to each other. Our backyard was about maybe 10 feet by the grass part, maybe 10 feet by 5 feet. There was
Right.
no
Right.
connection to nature. And here I am reading Nancy, and it's showing these. And then because I was the little runt in the family, she got to go places and do things, and had kind of independence or something. Now she's going to summer
Sure.
camp. That's so cool. You think if I asked my mom, can I go to summer? I'd be asking like, can I buy a Chrysler or something? Might as well have said that.
Right.
There's no money for what? Ah, I'm busy.
Right. Right.
So I was so motivated and inspired by Camp Mama
Wow.
that I took a towel, bath towel, in the bathroom, get a towel. I made myself a sandwich, like bologna and white bread sandwich,
Right.
with ketchup on it.
Very nice. Delicious.
Wrapped it in wax paper,
Okay.
wrapped up the towel and fixed it so my sandwich was okay, but it was kind of in there. And in Chicago, you have Main Street, alley. So you have Main Street, back of the house, alley, back of the house, Main Street, next street. So
Okay.
there was an alley between, they were called blocks.
Right.
Okay. So what I did was went behind our house to the alley. I went 1 block completely over, away from my house. So I didn't know, it was not familiar. I was not allowed to go off the street, off of our block.
Wow.
And yet I went behind that second tier of houses. So I was like 3 blocks away. And
Wow.
I in an alley, and I unrolled my towel by somebody's garage door with the cans, trash cans, and I ate my sandwich. And I was at Camp Fafalo.
That's as good as it gets. That's pretty cool.
So that's how comics. That's what that was.
Comics influenced you.
But
Yeah.
I never like. My sister was into Archie. I didn't like that because I like high school kids. I was too young for that.
Yeah.
And then when I was maybe at the age where I would have gravitated towards something like that, no, I was into music.
Right.
Mostly it was music and then boys, of course.
Right.
So I never really got into that. And then when I was stoned in the early 70s, the comics would show up as part of you'd have to go get rolling papers
Right.
and head shops.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's where the comics were.
That's where the comics were, yeah.
Yeah. So you'd get maybe pick up some comics or maybe, whoever you liked. I never liked comics. I thought, wait, if comics are like they're really great. I always hated it when there was an offshoot that was made for like tailored for girls or something like that, like with
Like what?
comics. We were supposed to like Little Dot, not Superman and stuff like
Right.
that, right?
Right.
So I always bristled at being told what was appropriate for whatever demographic I was in.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
So I didn't gravitate towards, you got, what's the thing? Let me have the thing,
Right.
not the, oh, well, let's be, I just wanted the thing. So the comics that jumped out then when they reemerged in my life in graduate school and after in New York was the stuff that the underground guys were doing. And this time they had names. And this time the titles made sense to me and they were real and I was ready to read and enjoy them.
Right.
And when I saw Binky Brown, I was just, wait, this guy's from Chicago. There's a whole lot of Binky Brown that's Chicago.
Uh-huh.
That maybe some people don't get. They're like going to Catholic, they get the Catholic thing, but there's a whole bunch of Chicago in there too, and I got all of that.
Okay. That must have, yeah. I mean, that must have gone on over my head growing up in New York. So I probably didn't get, I mean, other than that it was set in Chicago, I probably didn't get the
Spitting on
Chicago
the
stuff.
Winnetka sign and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
I knew the turf and I knew what he was talking about, and there was a kind of ethos in Chicago that's different from it was different from New York. So
Yeah.
that came through, you know.
What was it?
I can't quite put my finger on it, but just like the way that um I was looking at some of Justin's work the other night at Billy Ireland because I had my closing event, and I said, I'm not going to close this show unless you bring out some Justin Green originals. And they did.
Uh,
So I'm looking at the stuff and I'm thinking, God, Justin draws these men that were the men I remember from growing up in Chicago, the
wow.
fedora and this kind of, there was always a tie and a coat and just the way, the way these men, Chicagoans, they're just
Yeah.
the whole signs in the background and
Okay.
the ethos of that's what I'm saying. The set
Yeah.
had a working class, which for him, being the rich kid, he was came from a very wealthy family.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Justin had 27 rooms in their house.
Wow. Okay.
Maid, they had a maid, a cook, and another two maids and a cook. Okay, so
Nice.
he was spoiled,
Okay.
and yet his torment, the way he kind of showed the torment and stuff, that Catholic stuff. It's like, I can smell the incense, buddy. I get that
Yeah. Yeah.
because I went through Catholic school and all of that. But
Yeah.
I related to him. To me, I recognized when I saw Binky, I recognized a kindred spirit from the Midwest.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Did you have as intense an experience of Catholicism as he did?
Well, I didn't have OCD.
Right.
I had a much lighter, Lighther. But I never was a believer. So whereas my sister was, devoted and all that stuff, but then
Right.
she'd say,
Yeah.
"Shut up to me, shut up, you brain,"
Right.
Um, I had issues with Catholicism in general. First, I
Yeah.
thought, wait a minute, right? A little kid saying, "How come God sent his only son? Where's his daughter? How come there was no daughter? Why didn't they give the
These are
it
good
just
questions.
a lot of stuff." And I was little,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if a little kid can like take this stuff apart,
I
you know,
did.
it's
And I
kind of
thought,
built on the house
one
of,
reason why people come to church is because and this is like me at 4 or 5 years before I could even articulate it.
yeah.
They only come here because something terrible happened and they have to pray about it, or they feel guilty or obligated, or somebody died, or there's some other ceremony. And they're supposed to believe that we're up there and that something happens, which I don't know, but I'm supposed to believe it. Those are pretty profound thoughts for a little kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was not a blind believer. I could not read.
Uh-huh.
I had I I was the kid who went to school too early and did not know how to read. I couldn't read, but
Okay.
I had an intellect.
Yeah, clearly.
But reading, I was labeled a dummy.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I,
There's a lot of labels back then.
well, yeah. But yet I understood the cosmology, and I thought this does not add up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So,
beautiful though. I loved all the there was something about the magical mystery tour of it,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
mysticism, the strangeness, so much of that I loved. And then when Vatican II came, all that was stripped away. I thought, boy, what a and I've never. It's almost like you find out Santa Claus is your uncle or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
He's kind of a drunk,
Yeah.
so drunk uncle. But yeah,
Yeah, churches are pretty though. I mean, I had,
I do. I still dip into a church anytime I go to like
yeah,
a
I love looking
town.
at a church.
If I'm in going somewhere, I'll go in just because. In fact, one of my future projects, I thought, what should I do? Because every year I have something to keep me from going nuts in the winter, and I'm thinking about going to visit every church in town. Just go in. What does it look like inside here? Even the not Catholic, the public ones. We used to call them Catholic or public. The
Huh.
publics would be Methodist or a synagogue or anything like that. Anything that wasn't a Catholic church was public.
I never heard that. I never heard
Well,
it
I
described
think
that
it was
way.
our Chicago street. It was on our street. Are
Okay.
you? As you go up to somebody and say, "Are you Catholic or are you public?" Based on what school you went to,
Okay.
like school, public school.
Oh, I got it. Okay, got it, got it, got it.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Well, he's public. Okay.
Got it. Okay. Given why don't we should talk ephemerata because that's what they made us talk about. But
Why we're here.
that's what I think our publisher, your publisher wants you to talk about. You must have had your share of like
Although, publisher, Fab Four Mania, you published. So we're talking about that means it's okay.
we're also talking about but this is your new book,
The new book is what we're
so.
talking about now. This guy.
Yeah, I only have yeah, it's really beautiful. It's really, really beautiful, Carol.
Thank you.
Tell it, I mean, why don't you I'd rather you like describe the subject matter, the content.
No, you tell it.
Okay. All right, I will. It's about grief. It's about mourning. It's really powerful. Some of it's harrowing. That doesn't actually have anything to do with death. It has more to do with like extortion. And anyway, you should just whoever's watching this, you should just go. You should just read it, and it's beautiful. And you know, publisher, like you have two amazing. I mean, you have Fantagraphics publishes several of your books, but
Heart is another good one.
right,
Right.
yeah.
Hold on.
But you know, Ephemerata looks completely different. I mean, it's still Carol's style, but it's like, you know, it looks completely different from the Fab Four book. I mean, the Fab Four book is really, really colorful. And kind of there's a kind of shock of joy to it. But Ephemerata, you know, it looks like what it's about, which is you know, what humans go through when they lose someone. And there was a lot of loss for you at a certain time. And it continued after the book.
Well, okay. My take on it is that, I said that I had used my family as subject matter in my work for most of my career.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've always been telling stories about my parents and different things. You go way back to my earliest published stuff. They weren't exclusively what I would write about, but people got to read about my folks and stuff like that. And so they died,
yeah,
and it's expected when you have old folks. Like my parents lived to be in their 90s, mid 90s. So
yeah,
I'm
mine as well.
blessed, you
Yeah,
know. And I'm not saying it stings less, but it's not like shockingly unexpected.
yeah,
That an old. My dad was 96. Okay, he had full blown colon cancer at age 70. He outlived colon cancer for 23 years or something like that.
oh, okay,
So we don't know. And you don't think about, like, I had the blessing of having my parents, so I never had any significant loss.
yeah,
I did have a real stinging loss. My dog was poisoned when I was in college. That really, because that was the first, like, bonded, I was really bonded to
sure,
animals.
yeah,
And then that is in the Hannah story that I wrote that's in Soldier's Heart. My mom said, can you imagine losing a child?
mm,
So when my sister, who helped me caregive my parents, when she just like that got sick and
yeah,
was dead, that, like, no, we were going to be the old ladies at the cul-de-sac. We were going to help each other through old age.
yeah,
This would just seem like an outrage. And then other people, this great kid next door, just bam, hit by a car, changing a tire on the side of the road.
oh. And a
Uh,
neighbor, your neighbor, right?
Neighbor here, neighbor there. Like I was standing in front of in the front of this house earlier today, and I was talking to my friend Judy. And I said, let me just count. I'm going to look both directions on this street and tell you how many people don't live anymore because they all died. And
Yeah,
I counted 12.
yeah, that's a
So
lot of people.
Mr. Keels, Rose, that guy who bothered people, this one over here, that one, that lady, Mrs. Whatever. And it all came at the same time as my parents and my sister, and then other people too. Kim Thompson from Fantagraphics, he passed away.
Right,
Bain had just died.
right,
Um, Tom Hart and Leela Corman's baby. So there were lots of deaths.
yeah,
I was thinking about how to do that because this is new turf for me. I'm used to observing and then telling the stories, and now here I'm observing, and I hear people talking about they're going to do a story about death, or Justin has been worried about death as long as I've known him. It's a thing in our culture. It's a thing that was dressed up in a certain way,
yeah,
but I couldn't relate to what was being dished up.
uh-huh,
I didn't get that. I was not a member of a church community, not a member of a group or a club that could say they're there or you'll be okay. I was riding on my own. My
Yeah.
head's hanging out. What am I going to do? And then I thought, okay, what I don't want to do is like Soldier's Heart Part 2. Everybody in Soldier's Heart's dead. And now I'm going to talk about it. I didn't want to like continue that vibe.
Right.
I didn't know what to do. I did Fab 4 because I needed a jolt of joy.
Yeah.
But how do you talk about it? Because I thought one of the things I learned in all my years of doing autobiographical comics is, in general, people don't care about you and your family
Yes, this is true. Yeah.
unless it's pretty damn interesting.
Right. I mean, it's your job, it's our job to like make it interesting.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I didn't want to just write an obituary, basically write a graphic novel obituary.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the thing. I mean, it's interesting because there is like reportage to a degree. I mean, the second half of the book is like what happened, but the first half of the book is like kind of a mystic journey. It's sort of like Dante or or Ovid or something like that. It's like you're going through these levels of grief that are like personified. They're like they're actual sort of metaphysical places. Did you how did you get to that? Did you experience that or did you
Yes, I had that calving.
Oh, okay. Right.
That was when we were talking about weird mystery psycho things that happen.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And that happened one night. It felt like my head split.
Right.
And I thought, oh, I might be having a stroke. Better go
Right.
see.
Keving is when icebergs sort of splits
Shear
off
off.
a little chunk comes off it. Yeah.
Shears off.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. I thought, what is this? I I might be having a stroke. I got up, and to get to the bathroom to look in the mirror, I had to go through the kitchen. But when I turned on the kitchen light and walked in there, it was not the kitchen.
Okay.
It was a sense that I knew that I had entered a place that I could not fully understand in one take, but that this is where I was at now, and that a lot of the questions and a lot of the things that were going to be happening would be revealed through this place.
Okay. All right. That's amazing.
But as I just said it to you, I could not have put language to it at the time.
Right. 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 How long were you there?
I'm still there.
Okay.
It's as if, like, I said that I say in the book, there's no going through grief, you come out the other side, your life is back to where it was. You
Right.
move into a new landscape.
Yeah.
Is becomes was. Being in the kitchen, looking around and not really seeing pots and pans or kitcheny things. It was like my mind had a place it needed to go to.
Yeah.
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 So the mind was going to help me sort this. So I thought the rules of the game for me for grief are not about my usual storytelling techniques. Somehow I have to pay attention to this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it was really happening for sure. I mean, it's a real occurrence in your life. It's just you were experiencing it because it was your experience. I mean, you were
And
going
I
through
thought I
it.
can't, the language, everything I have right now is inadequate.
Yeah.
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 Can't do this. So I didn't do anything for like a year because I thought I didn't want to start jumping in and reading into something that maybe wasn't fully developed.
Uh,
I mean, when it presented itself to me, I realized it was also unformed. And it needed for me to mature or to be awake, wake up in it more or something like that.
Yeah.
And one night, I had a student, I always had student helpers. I had a student helper come, and she was not much help. And I say that in a kind way because her needs were, I don't know how to say this. She was great, but what she liked to do was draw pictures of fictitious people.
Okay.
And she lived in her world.
Right.
Right. So she'd come to my studio, hi, Miss Tyler, and she'd start drawing, I would say Asperger's or something like that, you know. And she would start drawing these pictures of these girls and, you know, lopsided faces and stuff, but somehow they were fantastic.
Right.
But she, you know, I was at that point, I was like, I gotta figure this thing out that happened. I couldn't find, it kept revealing, keeps revealing, and I couldn't find a way in. Because the minute I would try to draw something, it's like, oh, that falls short.
Yeah.
That's not it. So this girl came in and she would just plop her little sketchbook down, take out her markers, and just start making these big faces. And she'd name them, and they had characteristics.
Wow.
And then she'd flip over the page and make another one.
Okay.
And I was just amazed at how she just got to it. And they would be like not finished or not perfect, but she was done with them because she'd moved them along.
Right. 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 Right.
And I just looked at her and I thought, it must be amazing to have that thing where you can just go. It's just go time with you every minute, isn't it, girl? And she was like, yep, it's go time for me all the time. I'm ready to work. I'm ready to rock. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. She would just be like
Wow.
that. And, you know, I'm in my studio here, which is so good. And she left one night. It was then the weekend came. She left one afternoon, Thursday afternoon. And I went in my closet near where I keep my paper. And I found enough. I had a big 8-foot table here. I had enough illustration board. I laid them from one end to the other, and I started on the upper left-hand corner. And I, like a madman, I worked all night until I finished and made a complete map of what turned out to be Griefville.
Right.
And it just popped out.
Wow.
And I think that girl uncorked some kind of energy for me.
Yeah, it sounds like for sure. I mean, but you're so prolific though. I mean, particularly like even to go through the death of your parents and then still to get a book about the Beatles out is just extraordinary. And to get this book out is also extraordinary. It feels like, yeah, like you use this to get to the next spot in your life or something, you know. I mean, I can barely produce. I mean, I can produce for like my job, but like for my art, it's like it's really difficult, but that's amazing that you can do that.
Well, I also had a weekly or monthly gig. For 3 years in the middle of this, I had to do a back page comic strip for a local magazine, Cincinnati Magazine.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
That's Tomatoes. But that was just like gag work, you know,
Yeah.
set up a gag and deliver the gag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Life on the street. But once I got that Griefville map done and started to see that, it's held up pretty good. You know, there've been a few things that have come into clarity about it. Other things are like I found some old notes about like what I might do the other day, and I thought this never would have worked. This wasn't it. But at least this got me to that, which got me to that, which brought me to this.
Right.
So those were stepping stones. But once then I thought, okay, now the book, how am I going to put that in the book? Because I did want to talk about, okay, what, it just got clear. The book is that a bunch of people died, put me into grief. And here's who died.
Yeah.
And these were the circumstances at home while trying to take care of all of this.
Right. Yeah.
So it was, whoa, where am I? Okay, I'm in mourning because I lost people
Yeah.
while a fucking addict, excuse my language, while a drug addict was living in the house robbing us blind. And to have, it's like I felt like I kept having to stand up. Kept having to stand up and take care of this and take care of this. When did I ever have time to really grieve? I did. I grieved my way through all of it, but at the same time, it was, I mean, it was just one after another.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, I can't even believe like you were taking care of everybody. I don't even know how you got a book done, let alone taking care of everybody. I mean, like you're taking care of your daughter, taking care of Justin, you're taking care of neighbors, you know, with dead dogs and stuff. It's I mean, it's extraordinary. I mean, it's amazing. So there's I don't
I
know,
don't know. I'm going to answer that this way. How did you do that? Because, basically being a cartoonist means showing up at the drawing table and sitting there forever. You're
right?
just sitting there and day after day, and you sit there and blah, 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 and getting a book structure together and that kind of stuff. But I feel like it was like, how am I going to tell the story? It's like, all I have to do is tell what happened. One thing after another, and I'm going to tell what happened. And this is what happened to this one, and this one. The trick was trying to get them get the timing in such a way so that it became book-like and story-like.
Yeah,
Yeah, because honestly, if I had written everything down in a journal, that doesn't work. The job of the artist and writer is to put shape to it, to
yeah,
put it into focus.
yeah.
But one of the things I did want to convey was that, yeah, it took a toll on me. It was terrible. I did not enjoy I had to sacrifice a lot of shit. I'm not complaining about it, but there was an awful lot of going down, up and down the pike, going over to my parents, coming back here, looking for something. Wait, I'd be like, I put my coat on because I have to quick run out. I got to drive 4 hours now to mom and dad's, some crisis. Put my coat on, and I had a little zip thing there. It's like, I thought I had $20 in there. I know I had $20 in my pocket. And this is before the phone thing and all of this Venmo and all that. So to have 20 here, I was going to use for gas or whatever,
Right.
and it's suddenly missing. And dawning on me as time goes by, slowly, how come there's no spoons in the house? I want to have a bowl of cereal. I don't have time to make a meal. I'd eat a bowl of cereal, but there's no goddamn spoons. Where are they? Because he was cooking up heroin.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to take care of my sister who's dying. I
Yeah.
got to get on the road. It was just like, this is insane.
Yeah. It is. It's an insane story. I mean, your mystic journey is like the normal part of that story
It's easy.
in a kind of a
I'll
crazy
tell you the
way.
hardest thing, it was easy. It finally became easy. And what started to get me shaking and thinking about it was I had to go to UDF and sit in front of that extortion guy and not act nervous.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're trying to act like I don't know, tough's not the right word, but just like I
To
got this.
call his bluff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
had to call a bluff on an
I know.
armed, insane man.
I was trying to think if like I could possibly pull that off, and I don't think I could because it was
Well,
kind of like
who else was going to do that? That's it. It all came down to
right,
uh, all of the stalwarts that normally they're dead. That guy's dead. I can't go. Like, it all came down to I have to do this myself.
right. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's when, you're called upon to do stuff you got to
And
do.
now I have to draw it. Writers have it easy. You go to your typewriter and you go,
Yeah.
but I have to draw the
Yeah.
details.
Yeah, I know
That's,
that. Yeah.
that's when it's like, okay, you want to have some fun tonight, Tyler? Let's take on a page and let's do something. How can you show this really in a way that's thrilling to me? I
Yeah.
look for something that will keep me, because you can't throw everything at everybody, but there's got
Right.
to be some fun. Got to make some art here.
Sure. Yeah. 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 Speaking of fun, and you came, I mean, I had to look these up. You came up with like categories and words that I'm not aware of, like chlorins and bovinators. And I'm like, is that
That's
really a
because
word
it
or
comes. It's part of that. It's part of that calving. This stuff just, I know it the minute I know. It's just like it's a matter
yeah.
of fact. I don't have to hunt for it. It's there. It's just, oh yeah, and then it'll come forward when I'm writing, and it's like,
Yeah.
to me, it's like, of course, just
Yeah. 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 I
corns.
mean,
I knew
of
the corns
course.
right away, and I thought about that. Why did I? First of all, what are they, and why are they called that? So it's like you don't have to ask. It's like saying you're a football player. Why do we call you football players? It just is.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you met them and you experienced them and that's apparently their name and so you use that word. I mean, for a little while in the book, I'm like, am I supposed to know like this word? I don't know this word. Should I look it up?
Oh, I like to, because I was illiterate, and I said that earlier. I am thrilled by what I can play with words now.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like when I write, there's a part of it that I have to just like, what's the dumbass way to say this? He walked down the street.
Yeah.
Well, what would be a different way you could say that? That's
Yeah.
more funner or
Yeah.
funalicious, or come up with something. And so then I try to figure out how let my mind bend around the concept, as well as if I have to make up words, I will, or if I want to flip a switch, I can do anything. The other thing is, I can do anything I want. Who's telling me I can't? And I gave myself permission to just do whatever I want.
I mean, it works. I mean, I mean, even if like it didn't have drawings, like it's still written beautifully, I think personally, Carol, but it's like, but it looks great too. Really looks great. I mean, and it looks appropriate. I mean, it
About the
feels,
lettering, what are you going to say about the lettering?
I mean, for me, anytime I see lettering and if I could read it, it's good lettering. I don't have huge opinions.
I redid the entire book, the lettering of all of the entire thing, because it's all by hand.
That I can tell.
So I made patch for every piece of the book after Justin died, because I thought, I look at it, it seems okay, but he was a lettering master.
Yeah.
I owe it to him to up my game, because I have to stand with him in eternity. And I
Okay.
want to be able to say, I upped my game in lettering because of you. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, it's extremely well lettered. I will say that, but I was just looking to see if it was legible, and it was. So,
Well, I've shied away from cursive because so many people struggle with that. But there is still,
it's pretty though.
it still has the let's say this. Um, to me, it's a material.
Yeah.
So it's not, so you can make letters that look like cement, or they look like they're made out of wood, and not to depict that type, but the vibe of the letter or the way the
Yeah.
word comes across.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's got like, so what I wanted to do with my letters is lettering is have it sometimes uplift you,
Yeah.
sometimes anchor you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not just a great lame gray box that's sitting there.
No. That reminds me, like, I mean, for the subject matter, there's an awful lot of play in the book. It's a very playful, visually playful book.
Job. That's my job.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I like to do. And I've said It says in the beginning, and everyone knows I'm working on a second version because Justin died
Right.
as I was not completely finishing up, but I was kind of coming to the conclusion. And so many things came with him. I thought, oh, I can't do him here. Just stick him in at the end. He deserves, oh, there's too much. It's so big.
Sure.
So about the time I finished about the drug dealer or the extortion guy,
Yeah.
I think he might have seen that. I'm not sure where he dropped off. He got pretty sick. But I just thought, I'm just going to conclude this and set it up in preparation for the rest. Do I
Right.
have enough material, or is this, is it connected? It's like, holy hell, yeah, it is. And does the same vision I had and all of that hold up? And it's just like, it's funny that you mentioned Dante having a vision, because the second book is called Verdante,
Okay.
because verd means green, Justin Green. And Dante, I've listened to the Divine Comedy on books on, I can't read that old English stuff or whatever. Okay, so listen to it on in different forms, and I can't listen to the whole thing, but it just, what I did access about it gave me permission and made me realize, I think this is what I'm doing. It's some kind of a Dante thing. And I know that Justin was really wanted to do purgatory.
Okay.
And when I was going through his stuff after he died, I found his notes on purgatory.
Oh, wow.
And it's so great. And I remember seeing it about 10 years ago. I said, Justin, you got to do this. He said, nope, Gary Panter did it. And they're going to think I'm copying him. I said, no, you're both after Dante. Justin, you got to do this. And he was just like, nope, that ship has sailed. So
Huh.
I'm going to get back on the ship for Justin's sake.
Okay. That sounds pretty cool. It
It's
sounds
called
pretty appropriate.
Verdante, the Ephemerata Goes Home.
Are you considering these like the same book? Like just part one and part two?
Well, Gary Groth said I shouldn't call it part one and part two from a marketing standpoint or something. He said, so I'm not going to call it the Ephemerata
Well,
2.
that's scary though. What are you feeling?
He wasn't sure that the ephemera, he said, what does that mean? I don't think anybody's going to know. I said, oh, they'll know when I'm done.
I don't, yeah, yeah, I got it.
I said, you don't have to worry. They'll know what that means when this
Yeah.
book is out.
Yeah, it came across to me.
Ah,
Even if I'm not even sure what that means, I know what that means.
that's part of it.
Yeah.
All of this.
Yeah.
Who is sure of anything
Yeah.
at this point?
I mean, it's pretty clear though. I mean, it says what it is. Again, it's like I know what that is. It's
Ephemera is that which is not meant to last.
right.
You add that ATA like you're Italian, Ephemerata becomes something higher. It's
Miss show. Exactly. That's true.
true.
Well, I should let you go, Carol. We've been talking for a little while, but one last question. I got to ask you a question that you ask yourself at the end of the ephemerata, and that is, where do you go from here?
Where do you go from here? I have the second book about 1/5, 1/5, 1/5, 1/5 done, maybe.
Okay. Okay.
I think that.
Okay.
So I
You
go
might
back.
be better
Where
at
do I
it.
go from here? Somebody said, "Oh, she goes from here." So who was it that said? No, let me just say. Oh God, the second book. Just I'm already in therapy over it. Oh, it's just sometimes I can't. I gasp for air because I can't believe what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously,
Yeah.
in order to do it right, I gotta go there to some things. into some things. And you say, well, what is a reader? A reader don't. I am doing this because it must be done. It must be said. It's look. I'll be dead. The work prevails. The work lives on after you die.
Yeah.
I gotta do this so that and get it right so that I can rest.
Yeah. But I mean, beyond that, like there's people that want to read it too, you know? I mean,
Yeah, it's gonna. I was telling my friend Judy the synopsis. She said, "My God, Carol." I said, "Don't worry, don't worry. I will do whatever I need to do to get it done."
I mean, and people just don't not it's not just because they're fans of yours or they want to read a good book. It's like because everybody, whether they know it or not, are in the process of going through what you're going through or have gone through what you're going through.
Wrap that up too. I don't want to spend my life on death topics. I would like to revisit the Beatles. I'd like to do some. I have a in the back of my mind. I want to do something about. Well, Charles Burns and I are doing a secret project that's kind of set in the '60s,
Oh
but
wow.
it's a zine.
Okay.
No, but I would really like to revisit the Fabs because it's so uplifting and so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I don't want to do it just because, oh, okay, I did that. Now I'm the Beatles artist or something like that. No, no, no. So what would it'll be? I don't know. What's coming next? I mean, now I'm a single person. There's a lot of burden to that. I have, the farm, and which is my inspiration piece. It's the major thing. It's the major setting in the second book.
Okay.
Farm, and two here is the spirit animal. She has a major part in the second book. Um, so I have to attend to the task of doing that. I have to attend to the task of finishing, completing, to getting rid of my parents' estate, which I've just sort of I've put a lot of stuff on hold. I'm still in Cincinnati in the same house. I don't know. Again, I'm 74 years old, and next week or 2 weeks. And I can't imagine anything other than living life the same way. I'm not going to liquidate and go get a condo. I wouldn't be happy with anything. I want to build more things and do. I like sculpture. I like to paint more and stuff like that. But
Right.
there's always going to be an expression and uh, interest in storytelling something. There's no topic. Like, I'm not burning to tell a different topic. When I get done with this one, it's a pretty big statement,
Yeah.
pretty hefty. And in terms of like, do I have a queue? Yeah, there's about 10 books I have in me, but I don't have that many years. Come on. We
I
have.
don't know, you're pretty fast, Carol, from where
No,
I've
I'm not. I
well,
am not.
yeah, yeah, you are. Yeah.
It
Because
takes me 20 to 40 hours to do a page.
I'm on my 12th year of my second part of my graphic novel. So I'm no, from where I sit, you're pretty prolific. You're pretty quick.
That took me 10 years, the ephemerata, so far. And by the
Okay.
time I get it completely done, Justin's part, it'll be more like 13 or 14. That's enough time to spend on that topic.
That's true. That's true.
Maybe water skiing thrills. I don't know. I, I don't know. There's I feel my brain I feel my brain loosening up because I'm getting older, and
Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah.
And uh, it could go dementia. It could go, who knows?
Yeah.
We don't know what health things might come up and derail the whole shebang.
It's true.
So we do what we can. My plan in the short term is to get Verdante finished. I can't wait to start. I haven't been able to work all this year because of the art show at Billy Island,
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
and putting this in post production, and stuff like that. So in another couple weeks, I'll be back at it, the way you have to be.
Right.
But it's still, that will be 2 consuming years minimum, probably 3 to
Right.
finish.
Right.
So
Okay.
I'll be dipping a pen again. I just hope that Joe Burrow gets healthy and can entertain me with football and yeah, the little things that I find that are helpful, and go out to the farm. Two's getting old here. I can't even begin to think of that, but what will happen will happen.
Right. Get yourself some Nancy comics, some John Stanley Nancy comics. It'll get you through.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't feel like traveling either. What's in the future for me? No traveling.
Okay.
I don't want to
Okay.
go anywhere.
Not even if someone wants you to go overseas to sell the book.
Ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen.
Could happen.
I I have mixed feelings. I did get to go to Italy and England in 2016,
Okay.
and it was great. But I had somebody to come home to. I think that's the problem.
Right.
When you're by yourself, it's kind of like maybe the house will burn down while I'm gone.
Right. Right.
It's just it's a different vibe. I'm just gonna be here doing my thing, traveling. I don't know. It's hard on me. Um, like I said, it's different when you're by yourself. Really hard. Life is much more of a burden. The details of like, I used to could say, so bring home some ice cream and milk if you're going out. Okay. If I want milk or ice cream, I have to plan it into my shopping or go out late by myself. It's just a different thing uh, when you're by yourself.
Yeah. 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 I understand
So
that.
I've had to learn to adjust, and I'm doing okay and all that kind of stuff. But going on an extended trip out of town would be like by myself. I'm 70 something years old, and what happens if something happens?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, and you got your dog too. I mean, I got my cats. It's hard for me to travel just on the spur of the moment as well.
dogs
So.
and cats both play a part in the next book. Don't worry.
Exciting.
Are you by yourself?
I am by myself.
So
I know. I get it. I totally
it's
get it,
hard.
Carol. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. My
And I'm
animals are
freewheeling through all of these things because I always could have, he'd watch the dog, or, Justin go here or there. But it changes. I know what the game is now. I get it. I'm not complaining or trying to be a sourpuss about anything. I'm just saying the adjustment was incredible.
right. Yeah.
Having to make necessary shifts, because my goal, as it always is to get as much artwork done as I can
Right.
while
Yeah.
I still have a mind
Yeah. Right.
and a hand that works.
Right. Well, your hand worked beautifully for the Ephemerata. It's a gorgeous book.
Thank you.
I'm sure Gary probably wants us to say to sell some copies, whoever's watching this.
Yeah.
And they should. It's a really beautiful book.
I love you, Gary.
I love you, Gary.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I should let you go. I'm gonna stop the recording now, Carol. But it was really appreciate speaking with you. I
Okay.
mean, and we love seeing the Fab Four behind you. All right. I'm gonna end the record. Stop. Record. Stop.